All right, well, we can welcome to the first session of the day in room 3. We may have a couple more people drift in as it goes on, but I'd like to welcome Ben Allen, who's going to be presenting on Harvest Hosts, incorporating agritourism in your farming operations. If there's anybody online, please make sure you're muted, and you're more than welcome at the end of the presentation, ask questions or enter questions in your time. And go ahead, Ben.
Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate it. I am joining you all from St. Louis, Missouri, here with Harvest Host. So we're completely a remote company. So it's cool to be here and seeing what all the farms are like in Alaska, and hoping to add to your revenue. So just to get things kicked off, I can answer any questions at the end or along the way. Feel free to drop those in the chat, but I'd be happy to answer any and all questions as they come in. Just to kick off here, so currently with Harvest Host, we have over 1,900 total farm locations in the United States and Canada. This is by far, and I'll get into this in a second, but this is by far our largest category of type of host in our network. So our members really enjoy our farm locations and staying there and getting to experience different landscapes as well. So this presentation is going to be about how to promote your farm to a community of passionate travelers eager to support small businesses, farms, ranches, and properties like that. So our mission here at Harvest Host is to help millions of people live happier lives through road travel while supporting wonderful small businesses and communities along the way. I've been with this company for 2.5 years now, and I love just really giving back to the small business community. That's what, it's the backbone of America, is what I always like to say. And it's nice to be in a situation at a job where I can support that. And, getting more into this presentation, I can explain how we do that. So basically how Harvest Host works, we partner with small businesses, of course, in this case, farms and ranches across North America, to what we call host RVers for one overnight stay on their property in exchange for patronizing their business. So members sign up, they pay a small yearly fee to have access to our privatized host network. The hosts set accommodations for how they want to be a part of the program and set up a profile with us and invite those members to stay when they're traveling to the area or planning on doing so. So this is what, just across the map, I know Alaska is a little further up northwest, but as you can see here, this is primarily what our host network is made up of. As you see there at the top, farms are by far our biggest category, close to a third, if not more, are made up primarily of farms and ranches. About 1,500 or so are what we call attractions, so like museums, churches, more kind of unique or unorthodox type of locations, really just people that have a parking lot and a product or service to sell. That's what we would consider an attraction. Nearly 650 of them are breweries and distilleries. A little over 800 are winery locations, and just about 450 or so are golf course locations. As it stands now, we have nearly 5,400 different host locations across the network. So here's some, these are submitted photos. So as you can see here, cool scenic locations. We have an alpaca there. I believe that's a donkey. we have horses. Just really cool locations across the United States, and I'm sure some of these are in Canada as well. But our members really like our farm locations primarily because of those, the scenery. They like to stay at a place with open space and where they can, really spread out and enjoy, the land. So to kind of get more into the semantics of why it's beneficial for you to become a host, here are some of the perks and benefits. Number one, increase sales. The main goal for us we wouldn't be Harvest Host without our host location. So these are really important to us. Increased sales is obviously what, most of our locations are in it for. They want to leverage us to promote, gain exposure for their farm. And our members come and they make purchases at your farm on site. So whether that be a product you sell, a service you provide, an amenity that you offer, these are all things that can kind of ramp up those sales for you And I'll get a little further into it here in a second, but really anything you can monetize at your farm, we encourage you to do so. Increased traffic is a big thing too. So with our 250,000 plus members, plenty of opportunity to go around with that. We have, like I said earlier, we have about 5,400 host locations and about 250,000 plus members. So it's something like 50 or 55 members per one host. So a lot of opportunity for increased traffic there. And again, it's marketing for you with those 250,000 plus members. There's plenty of, if you have a Facebook page, a website, Instagram, whatever it is, you can leverage our site to gain that exposure for our membership base. A thing that's not talked about a lot, but is definitely something that our hosts enjoy is shared experiences. So hosts can share their trade and make lasting friendships with our members. People that they wouldn't expect to visit them in a million years, from halfway across the country, people from Florida, people from, New York, Canada, Nova Scotia, you name it. Our members are all across the map, and they're, wanting to stay at your farm, but they also want to share, their experiences and vice versa. And, just know how you go about your business and see how you work at your farm. And that's really important for our members and hosts alike. And then also, if there's any RVers yourself in this chat, you do receive a complimentary Harvest Host membership valued at about $140 as long as you're an active host location with us. So you can use that to travel, but you can also use that tool to look at other hosts and see kind of how they're operating within our business. Hosts love being part of this program, and members alike. I mean, that's indicated by our NPS score. We have a NPS score in the high 90s. Basically, that stands for Net Promoter Score. So we send out surveys across our membership and host base, and they take those surveys and they rate us very highly as a company. So we're proud to say we have a high NPS score. So a little bit about our members, just to give you some numbers here. Again, like I said, about 250,000 members are what we currently have. I know when I started in August 2021, we had about half that. So we've more than doubled in the 2.5 years that I've been here. So it's super excited to see. And the fact that we're still growing day in and day out is really neat to see. A rough estimation of about $100 million is anticipated to be spent amongst our host locations in 2024. This number varies, but again, a couple of years ago when I started, this was closer to 50 million. So, our members are coming to spend money and enjoy our host locations and supporting you along the way. So kind of getting more into the demographics regarding the members, roughly 80% are of the age of 55 and above. The reason, we want to bring this up is, for lack of a better term, we don't necessarily get a lot of party goers. We don't, we want to respect your property and our. Oh, what was that? I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought someone said something. Yeah, we want to make sure that our members are coming and respecting your property. And I think with, this crowd, we see more of that, and it shows. Roughly 16% of our membership base earn over $200,000 a year, 35% earning $100,000 a year. Again, the reason we bring this up is, they have disposable income and they're coming to, share that with you and spend money at your locations. And, half of our membership network are of that demographic. On average, our members are spending about $50 and beyond at our host locations. What I always like to say is, what you put into the program is what you get out of it being a host location. So this number really is subjective. They could spend a lot more than that if you have the product or service available. And on average, our hosts make about $15,000 in incremental annual sales and above. I mean, and I've seen this number be much larger. We have host locations that are making north of $40,000 to $50,000 just for this program alone. And it's a free program for you. So this isn't a monetary investment for you. So this is all, revenue, pure revenue for you. About 55% of our members travel with pets, 12% travel with kids. This is something that can be controlled as well. So if you, at least on the pet side, if you have a farm, you have a lot of farm animals that you don't want to be disturbed, you don't have to allow the members that travel with pets, but we just wanted to, give you this number so you can have a rough idea of what our membership base looks like. And all of our members do have self-contained RVs. So an important part about our network is that they are required to do so. You don't need to have any sort of water hookups, electricity hookups, sewer, anything like that. Of course, if you do have that, you can charge additional for that, but it's not a requirement to be a host with us. And that brings me to the next slide. What are the requirements of being a host? It's limited. It's really, these are, what I like to say softer guidelines, but kind of what we expect and see amongst our host network. So space to park at least one RV. I mean, really any size RV, as long as they have room for one RV to park and then effectively turn around and leave the next day, you're qualified to be a host location with us. And those range in sizes, so you get to control what size RVs show up to the property and when. So products and services to sell is important as well. We want to make sure that you have an avenue to provide that product or service. So even if it's not a tangible thing that you can provide, if you do, farm tours, or if you do hay rides, a U-Pick operation, I mean, really, there's avenues to provide that sort of service that you have to our membership base. And even if it's just simply amenities, you could sell that to our members. They are expected to spend a bare minimum of $30 per stay. So they will come and spend money. It's just up to you to decide how you want to receive that. This really should say farmers insurance, because with a business license, a lot of breweries and wineries that we currently work with may have a commercial liability clause, and I know it's wildly different for farms. So kind of ignore that. But if as long as you have liability in place to cover members that are staying there, our members are expected to be fully insured as well, and we want to make sure you guys are protected. So make sure that that's you have that as well. Employee awareness is big. Working farms, people that aren't always there or don't live on the property. This is important for all employees to know about the Harvest Host program. We have very lenient guidelines, and I would hesitate to even call them rules, but we just want to make sure that everyone is aware, so that if the main contact of the program isn't available that day or out of town, whatever it may be, that someone else can take it over and kind of know how that program works. I'll get into how the app works in a second, but that's pretty important as well. And then website, Facebook, social media, these are all super important, but not technically required. You don't need, especially with farm locations or a family farm, you may not have a website, and that's completely okay. We just want to make sure that if you do have those things, that you can leverage our site to, market to our membership base. It's definitely highly encouraged. What is not required? So again, hookups, you do not need hookups, electricity, water, sewer, anything like that. Our members are expected to be self-contained. However, if you have that, again, you can charge additional for that, and we encourage you to do so. So this is a cost-free opportunity. There's absolutely no cost to you as a host. You don't pay us any money. All the money that you make from the members, you keep every penny of that. No commission, no fees to us as a company. The reason we are able to do that is because we do collect that yearly membership fee that I mentioned from our membership base. So this allows us to provide it to our host completely free of charge. Nor are there contracts or anything that you have signed on the dotted line. Your agreements, of course, we'd love to have you for as long as we can, but if you decide in the end that it doesn't work out for you as a farm, you're not tied down to anything. And then no RV experience needed either. And here's a cool picture of a host location as well. So getting into the app, the app, just kind of what that looks like from the member's perspective. You're able to create and update your host profile with a description and photos. Again, this should say farm, so I apologize. But you have full control of your profile. This is your profile to customize completely and control to your liking. You can add hundreds of pictures. You can, do 10 pages of description. There's really no limitations there. You're also able to set up your calendar to manage when you host. You can black out dates when your location is not open, and you can do that up to 3 months in advance. So, especially being in Alaska, I know the winters and the weather in general can get rough. So we want to make sure that you're able to control your schedule and your calendar, completely to your control, and it's completely up to you. You also control the number of spaces, the size of RVs allowed, and your business hours. So, when you're available. A lot of our farms do open availability, so they're just kind of doing it by appointment only. I recommend that highly, because you could just say, I'm technically available whenever, but I'm gonna just set it so that people can, do it on their own schedule. This is all, again, something you can control. We do have what we call auto approval, so you can create an automated reply to guests just when you know you're available, so you don't have to get in there and manage it day in and day out. It's a lot easier for some people, but again, completely up to you. And then you can also see member reviews and photos as they're submitted. So there's a two-way review system. Hosts can review members, members can review host, and it kind of creates that dialogue. And also they don't see your review until after they stay with you, and vice versa. So there's no conflict of interest there. It's just kind of a way for our members to see, what your location is about before they arrive. So here's what the mobile app looks like. Some people like using the website. Some people like using the mobile app. It really depends on your preference. But it is, we update this. We have a whole engineering team that constantly updates this. We had a beta version. Now we have what you're seeing here is the alpha version of the app. As you can see here, Lane Southern Orchards in Fort Valley, Georgia. They're one of our most popular locations. So this kind of looks like what it would look like from their perspective as a host. You can, as you can see here, you can manage stay requests. You can see who's requested to stay with you, and see what the date is, who that is. Typically the member that will request, you can click on their profile to kind of get an idea of who they're traveling with, what they're about, and things of that nature. Here's the calendar portion as well. Again, like I said, you can block out calendar dates up to 3 months in advance. You have full control of that. And even if you get a stay request that you just simply, if it's not a good day for you, or you don't want to do the Harvest Host program that day, you're not expected to accept every stay request. There's no quota or anything like that either. And then also you could, once you accept that stay request for the member, you open up that dialogue and you can talk further with the member to kind of see what their preference are, and see if it matches, with your accommodations. This is designed to make hosting as streamlined and easy as possible. We don't want the app to be a headache for either the host or the member. Simplicity is the key here, and we want to display that and show that on the app here. Like I said, with our engineering teams, new features are always being added. So if there's anything that's, does end up being a headache for you, we often take feedback and we want to apply that to the app and the website. It only takes a few taps, to confirm stays and message guests. And then I mentioned earlier, the auto approval makes it easier for hosting if you're on a tight schedule and you don't want to be, in the app or the website all day, every day. As it stands now, we currently have about 22 host locations in Alaska. Although this seems low in terms of market share, this is a great opportunity for new and upcoming and even existing farm locations to promote their farm with Harvest Host. We're seeing a lot of increased demand and travel to Alaska. I don't know if it's a result of like COVID and people just really kind of want to travel and get out more, but I think especially with our membership base, we're seeing a lot of increased travel to Alaska, and we want to make sure that you have every opportunity to invite people to your program. Especially before it becomes more competitive, with 5,400 locations, nearly 2,000 being farm and ranch locations, definitely are, like I said, our biggest category, and only 22 being in Alaska is a great opportunity for you to get in early and start hosting with us. Here's a testimonial from one of our family farms, just kind of going over how Harvest Host helped them during a tough time, and we were able to help them turn around their farm and get back up. So getting a little towards the end here, these are some FAQs that we currently or actively get from a lot of our members and host specifically. Again, do I need to offer electricity or water hookups? No, you don't. That's not something that's required. If you have that or you plan on installing it, again, charge additional for that. utilities cost money, and we don't want you to lose any money. So definitely use that as an opportunity to get more bang for your buck, so to speak. Are you able to charge for parking? So the only stipulation with our program is that we ask that you don't charge for the physical spot for the first night itself. That's where members come in, they spend money at your location on products and services, but we just ask that you don't charge for the first night itself. We do have several hosts that promote additional nights, and you're welcome to charge for the parking spot for those additional nights. It's just that first night is all we ask that you don't charge for. In terms of liability and insurance, our members do sign a code of conduct, which includes accepting any liability for damage they may cause at host locations. So they are, expected to reimburse, if it ever comes down to it. I know it's anecdotal. In the 2.5 years I've been here, I haven't seen a single instance of this happening. But in the event that it does, our members are fully insured. And Harvest Host offers a property protection plan if you want that added protection from any sort of possible situations. So yeah, just a general recap. This is a win-win program, is the way we like to say. It's cost-free marketing for your farm. That's the biggest thing. This is a way to it's a time investment, really, not a monetary investment in the marketing aspect of it. Really, we are just a marketing medium. So a way for you to use us to kind of promote your farm and to get more exposure. Increasing revenue is big as well. Like I said earlier, $15,000 in average and above. Networking and connection with members, and complete control of when and who you host. And I want to just emphasize that the control aspect of the platform is really what we like to promote. We understand it's your property. We want to respect that, your business, and we want to give you complete control of how you host, when you host, and why you host. And I think our app and our members alike, understand that. And as a company, we want to, again, going back to the mission, we want to make sure that you have every opportunity to promote your small business. So yeah, that summarizes this. I'll keep this up for a second if you want to scan that QR code with your phone, or if you prefer to just email us with more information. I'm one of 4 account executives at Harvest Host. So when you're looking to get signed up as a host location, basically what I do is I help you along that process. I get you connected with our host success team and to get you fully onboarded. And yeah. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen in about a minute here, just so if there's any questions in the chat, I can answer them. But if you're wanting to just ask them, using your voice, you're welcome to do that as well.
I have a question.
Of course.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm a flower farm, but my flowers don't bloom until sometime in July, but I have room for parking in June. And
Okay.
I'm just wondering, how do you go about charging for a tour? I mean, I don't understand what you say to the people. I'll walk you around, but you have to pay me. I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, and that's a great question, and we get that quite often. Since we don't see exchanging of money between you and the members, we just let you handle that how you prefer to do that. So whether that be like a Venmo that you set up, a PayPal, however you prefer to collect income, we let you do that. A lot of people, I think, nowadays are using more of those kind of the apps to do that. So like the Venmo, the PayPal, the Cash App, whatever it may be. It's ultimately up to you how you want to collect that money.
Well, not just the collecting, but I'm talking about, are they familiar with, or that they're expected to give you a little something? I mean, is that,
Yeah.
Do they know that?
And so I mentioned earlier our member code of conduct. It basically outlines like 10 guidelines that they're expected to follow when they're a member with us. The first being patronize the business. And we do have a system in place where if a member for whatever reason doesn't spend money, whatever the situation is, you can report that member. If it becomes a repeat pattern, we would remove them from the program. So there is that kind of added assurance that they would abide by that rule and spend money at our host locations. And I can share that with you as well if you want to drop your email in the chat.
All right, so and after you give them a tour, would they just offer you the money or do you have to ask, is what I'm getting at, I guess?
They should, in theory, just offer the money. We don't want you to get into a situation where you feel like you're haggling them or something. But
Yeah.
they're expected to spend that bare minimum $30. And just realistically speaking, as we grow as a company, we gain more members. Every once in a blue moon, there could be a quote unquote rotten apple as a member. So we want to make sure that that system of removing a problematic member is important. But yeah, I mean, they should just be expected. So if you say, or if you just like, if you're developing as a farm and you don't necessarily have like a price board laid out, or that, that sort of the price for the tour on a website or whatever it may be, you could really just ask them if you want. Our members are really good at spending that money at our host locations.
Right, and then you were talking about how you can charge for additional nights. So to do that, you would look at the calendar on the app and you would see that there wasn't anyone the second night. And then if they ask you to stay another night, you could then offer to have them pay, or they could pay.
Yeah, right? So yeah, another great question. You can actually promote that on your Harvest Host profile. So you can say additional nights, $50 or whatever. You set the price for that. So if you want to promote that on the description portion on your profile, you just put those, those prices, and you can use that description to promote those additional services as well.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Was there anybody else?
So did you say that there's a minimum, you have to have just a minimum of one spot? I might be able to pull off 2 spots, but I haven't got a lot of them.
Yeah, so you can, once you fill out the application to host, that's a reflection of what your profile will look like. One of the questions on there is how many RVs can you accommodate, and it only goes up to 5. But we have some hosts that go can accommodate up to 20. I mean, really, there's no limitations there. Most of our hosts start with 1 or 2 RVs at a time, just to kind of get a swing of things, and then they increase that or decrease that based on how involved they want to be.
All right. And can you tell me how much that additional liability insurance costs? Do you have any idea?
Our protection plan?
Yeah.
It varies. Right now, I believe it's up to $10,000. I don't know that for sure, to be completely transparent with you. I could definitely get you information on that. But we work with you. So if you ever, God forbid, get in a situation where that happens, we're not just going to leave you in the dust. Typically what you have, like with our program, our member, it's kind of like a gray area, since our members aren't dry camping, they're in self-contained rigs. There's no really liability outside of just inviting anyone else on your property. But whatever you currently have in place would typically cover you for any instance regarding this program. But like I said, I can get you more information on the property protection plan. We have so many different types of host locations. We don't necessarily have an umbrella liability policy, but we do have kind of like a general liability coverage. And insurance is like super complex, as I'm sure you know. So we want to make sure that it's not something that you guys are confused about with our program.
So is there a split between just camping and touring? Do you see people doing like charging this for the site, the park, and then additional for tours, or people just want to be and have hours to do that?
I'm sorry, sir. I can't. Maybe I didn't hear that question completely, but you're kind of lagging out there at the end. I just want to make sure I heard you right.
Yeah, my question was, is there usually just one fee and always a tour, or do you see, some people just charging for the camping site and RV parking site, and then a separate fee for tours?
Yeah, everything that you have an idea. I mean, it could be as simple as a pile of firewood, you know, they're coming to your property, they're not paying for the physical spot, but they're expected to spend money on anything else that you can, I mean, really whatever you can monetize. And that's especially important for farms. So anything that you can think of, like, you know, if they want to, you know, if you make, like, we have farms that make like baked goods or, I mean, there's so many examples of what you can charge for. I don't even know where to begin, but yeah, I mean, if it's like you offer a tour and then they want to come back and they want to, you know, at the campsite, if they want to use some of those amenities, charge for those as well. There's really no limits when it comes to what you can monetize with our program. We want to make sure you're making money, not lose it, obviously.
So like t-shirts and hats and things that.
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Like literally anything. As long as you're not charging for the physical night for the first, like, and that's quite literally the only stipulation. As long as you're not charging for that physical spot for the first night itself, anything else is fair game. And as far as like tent camping, our members are just, it's strictly RVing too. So if you want to allow tent camping, that's ultimately up to your discretion, but it's not required. It's strictly the self-contained RVs.
So how far ahead of time do you need to sign up?
You can sign up today if you like. I mean, it's up to you. Basically, the next steps are you just build that profile with us. And I can share here, you know, I'm going to share this link here. This is the host application. I'll share it in the chat here. Basically, the next steps are you just fill out this application with us, and either me or one of the other account executives would follow up with you if there's something missing, and then we would get you to the host success team who would finalize everything, and then within, I mean, realistically, a few days, you would be live on our site. Even if it's something where you want to get your profile set up, but maybe not start hosting for another couple months, you would set up that profile and then you would black out those calendar dates up until when you want to actually start inviting people. Building the profile more so is just to kind of get that listing on our website and kind of start that marketing build up for your farm.
So if we were signing up today, is it a 12-month? Or would we have to sign up again? At the beginning of
There's Oh, you only sign up once. There's no, like, it's really just, yeah, it's like, we don't like to compare ourselves to Airbnb, but in terms of like listing, it's literally just a listing on our website. There's no contracts for you. So if, you know, come, you know, March, April, if you decide you don't want to do it, you would just reach out to us and we would remove you from the platform. Or if you just want to like completely like, hey, I'm traveling or like we're doing renovations for the next 6 months, you would just reach out to us and we would pause your profile. And then when you're ready to start doing again, we would just resume it for you. So it's completely, you know, in your control when you want to do it, how you want to do it, all that.
Well, I was just wondering about the free complimentary membership for the hosts. I mean, is it a year-to-year thing?
Yeah, so as long as you're an active host with us, so you're in that active status, you retain that active membership. So if it does get to a situation where you have to be paused for 6 months, unfortunately, that membership wouldn't align. But you can really just say, hey, I can't do it for the next 3 months. I'm going to black out the calendar. And in that regard, you would still be able to retain that the membership as long as you're in that active status. And I'd be happy to get more in detail about that if you'd like to talk further about it as well.
Right. Yeah. You see the application?
Yeah. And I put it in the chat there too for anyone else that was interested. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I'm going to get it back to the host, but I'd be happy to stay on for as long as possible for anyone else that has any questions. But I appreciate anyone and everyone that has joined me today. Go ahead and it's the Claire Marshallek, right? That you want me to make the host?
Yes, please.
Okay. There you go.
Awesome. So I had a question for you. How do folks, the RVers, how do they find out about you? Like what kind of marketing and outreach do you do to those kind of folks?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we have a whole marketing team. The company has actually been around since 2010. So we've been around for a while now. Our new CEO took over in 2018, and he came from a company called Storyblocks, so he kind of had that marketing background as well. And I mean, we often do like marketing campaigns, email blast. We're huge on social media. We actually just hit 200,000 followers on Facebook, which is a huge milestone. We're on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel with live testimonials. I mean, you name it, we're in those channels. So we do a lot of different sort of marketing efforts there.
Well, we still have plenty of time. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I'm open and available to all of them. So keep them coming. For the ones that ask the questions, can I ask where you all are located in Alaska?
I'm in Soldotna, Alaska, and I have a P.
Okay, cool.
I think that people would enjoy camping there. It's quite beautiful.
Certainly. Yeah.
My only problem is I have limited, where people would camp is also where people park when they come to visit our farm. So, I gotta try and figure out the logistics of where, a camper would park.
Certainly.
But anyway, I do have actually to this parking lot where people park when I'm not having events, it's, open. For, it would be great we invite our relatives to come and camp there, and we put posts with electricity and everything. So, how much do people charge for electricity a night? Usually,
Average is anywhere from $15 to $30 per hookup. But it's, again, that's up to you. Like utility bills across the nation are different. So just, whatever you think is fair, and our members don't typically complain about that. But I would say $15 to $30 per night is or per night per hookup is average.
Okay.
And then to the point of the parking too, I just want to say, like, we don't want, like, some hosts think that they have to install new parking and do all this. Like it could be a patch of grass. It could be a lot of gravel. You don't have to have a whole paved, site for it. It's our member, especially with the farm locations, they're used to traveling to more rough, sort of terrains. So we just don't want there to be an expectation that you have to install new parking and do this and that.
Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Well, I'm super interested. I gotta talk to my husband about it, but
Yeah.
doing that.
I'm gonna put my cell phone and my email in the chat as well. Again, next steps are pretty straightforward. So even if it's like it's a process, we have people that inquire about this, and then 6 months to a year later they sign up. So there really is no rush or timeline where you have to do it. We want to make sure you have all the information you need before making that decision. But I'll go ahead and put that in the chat here. And this is my direct cell phone. So even if it's easier for you to text it, you're welcome to do that as well. It's in here. Was there any other questions or anything else? Any and all questions I'm happy to answer too. So don't be afraid to speak up if there's anything.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was telling the gentleman earlier, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, so I'm a little bit of ways away from y'all, but our company is completely remote. We're based out of Vail, Colorado, but we have people. I don't think we have anyone in Alaska, but we have people in 25 different states, I believe. So it's cool to be able to speak to people in different parts of the country, and Alaska is definitely no exception. I've always wanted to go up there, see some of the national parks.
And we've done the workaway program, which is not the same, but it's a similar type thing.
Yeah.
3 years now, and we've had very good, we've had people who were mediocre, but it's outstanding, young people that help us out. So it's a similar thing, I believe, where they sign up for the program and then you don't, as a coach, you don't have dependencies.
Yeah, are you talking about like people that sign up and they
Yeah, I think it's a
help
similar,
at your farm? Like they like work at the farm? Is that what you're?
well, we don't have a partner per se, but we get people to help us because we have sled dogs.
Yeah.
And but people love the company last, when you get, the first summer, I turned away probably 20 people. It all seems really good. And it goes in waves, we have a lot of this, for some reason.
Yeah.
I think
And-
it's a similar, are you familiar with Workaway?
I'm not that specifically, but the idea of, and that brings up a great.
It's like wolfing, but it's.
Yeah. Wolfing. Yeah, that's the term. Yeah, we have members that like sign up solely to do that. I don't know the exact numbers, but people that like, hey, I want to sign up. I've always wanted to live that, because a lot of our members are typically from more metropolitan areas. So getting that, and I think that's why farms are our biggest category, because they don't often get those sort of experiences. So yeah, and even if it's something that you want to promote on your farm, you're more than welcome to do that. I mean, really, it's your kind of destiny with our program.
Are there ever guests that want to help on the farm?
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know the exact number. I could try to find that information, but yeah, I mean, sure, and you can like say that. You could say, hey, if you, especially the members that travel with children, they love doing that. Like they love, tending to the animals, feeding them, whatever it may be. I mean, certainly promote that if that's what you all kind of want to get into it for. I mean, definitely.
Good. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all the questions. I will, I'm gonna jump here if there's nothing else immediate, but you are all welcome. I put my email and my cell phone number in the chat there. So you're welcome to reach out anytime with any further questions. I'd be happy to answer those as well. But I appreciate you all having me.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, have a great rest of the conference.